Welcome back, Organic Fanatics. We're glad to have you guys back with us. Shalom. Que lo que? What's good? How y'all doing today? Konnichiwa. Ni hao. All that good stuff. Welcome back. We appreciate y'all from all over. Obviously, congratulations to the Miami Heat. They won that. They advanced to the finals, the NBA championship against the Denver Nuggets. So, great win from them. They should have won it sooner, but the NBA needs to get them going there. So, Game 7 took Boston. I don't know about Boston. Is this the year for the breakup for Boston? I don't know. But don't start getting your hopes up and going for the Jaylen Browns. He qualified for Supermax. We ain't getting him, and he's not turning down $250 million, so you can forget that. We ain't getting Jason Tatum, so don't start get him off your wish list. You're gonna get the low budget version. The only person that I think we could go after, which we'll get into that anyway. I'll get into that in a second here. But congratulations to the Heat. Now that that's out the way, think about the Heat right now. Think about how they got there. They built their team. All right, they have their formula that they've stuck with for quite some time. They have their culture that they've had for some time, and they add incremental pieces to continue that over the years. They've had the same coach, same style of play. All these things are big factors into building. There's no more superstar players that they join together and join forces like it's an Avengers movie. That doesn't happen anymore. Most of the superstar talent you're looking at, they're either older and they're ready to basically get whatever they can get right now. The Kevin Durant's on, they're already on the tail end of their careers. So right now it's the changing of the guard. You're looking at youth and building the old way, like building as a team and organizing. So that's why the Knicks are doing it right now. Two playoff appearances in 3 years with the same coach. See the pattern here? See the pattern? With the same coach, Tom Thibodeau, whether you like him or not, he has a system. The front office picked him because they were going to build the same style of play as far as building a culture, which we're building a defensive-minded team, a hard-working team, players that go to the gym all the time, gym rats, as you hear all the time. Those are key features of what we're looking at: discipline, team play, building the right play, getting the right pieces to fit what we're building. Jalen Brunson was a huge asset this year. Huge. He took us farther than most of us thought we were going to be at this year. So that was a huge component. Now he's a main cog that you want to continue to build around. A lot of rumors you're hearing out there, and a lot of conversation of getting rid of Julius Randle and trading Julius Randle. Let's address that real quick, which you said in the last video. But in order to trade Julius Randle, one of your key components, one of the main reasons we've made it here this far this year, and whether you like him or not, every player has an area of opportunity. All of them. We may not like it. There's still stuff that he can improve. When it comes to basketball, his basketball game is good, other than the turnovers and some basketball IQ plays. That's why you got Brunson to take over. Nonetheless, he's a consistent player. He plays north of 75 games every year, which is almost unheard of in this NBA in today's age. So, besides stats, in order to get something for him, it has to be a major overhaul. Not only do we have a player that's giving you all-star, all-NBA numbers, we got it at an incredible value. The price that we got for him, everyone's talking about trading players for him to either take something less, which is, if you know the Don, and if you look in Leon, what he's done the last couple of years, it's impossible. He's not going to get fleeced. He's not going to devalue anything that he's already acquired to raise the value on. He's either going to get more for it or he's not going to do it. So unless it's a major overhaul for him or some kind of superstar talent to give you equal or better value, not only in stats but also financial gain on there, it's not going to happen. I don't see it happen. Could it be? Absolutely. There's always an opportunity. Will they look? Will they make calls? Of course they will. I think the likelihood that you're going to get something, a top 5 player, top 10 player back for him from any other team is slim chances. We'll say it's slim. I'll say 10 to 15%. It's possible, but now you're talking about adding assets to it and taking on a higher contract than what you're giving out. It's probably not going to happen. So I'm thinking Julius Randle staying, regardless whether we like it. I think he stays, and you add talent. What we're looking at now is adding pieces. We made it this far. What were the missing pieces, or what could we do to get better, to take it to the next level, to make it to where Miami made it this year? Everybody's talking about how Miami has so many undrafted players, so many. So it's looking at good talent that you can get, which Leon is good at looking at the thrift store and making those thrift threads look like brand new, top of the line name brand clothing. So that's what I think is going to happen this year. I don't think it's going to be a major overhaul. I'm thinking we're going to get rid of Rose and Evan, obviously. Those are two pieces that are gone. Tibbs has been primarily dealing with a 9 to 10 man rotation through the season. He went 10 man rotation. In the playoffs, he went 9, and only I think he went 9 because there was other players that weren't contributing, so he had to stick with that, with who was he felt was going to perform. And people were saying, add all these other players. He could have added Deuce. That was the only one that I saw that could have helped us in the playoffs, give Deuce more minutes. But other than that, a lot of people didn't show up. Hopefully they get it right this summer. I think they will. I think Grimes will get it right. We need him to step up big this year, get better with his shooting. At year 2, he did very well, considering he was a starter, played all the best number 2s. Now he just has to find, after having a whole year playing at the 2 guard position as a starter, he's going to know what he needs to improve on, what shots he needs to take, and get more accurate with his shooting. Once that happens, it's going to be night and day with the starting unit. I don't think you mess with the starting unit unless you get, again, superstar talent, or you get someone else. The name that's been thrown out there that I do like, that I think would work, and again, you can get him for just money. You could do sign and trades, but again, are you gaining from that trade? I don't see Leon taking anything less. Could you get a KP that he would be a superstar equivalent? Could they be talking to his agent in the background? You technically can talk now, now that the summer is over. So I wouldn't doubt that Leon's talking to the agent, tell him to waive his extension, and then we just pay him. Now, if you add him to what we already have now without getting rid of Randall, I know people want to say cancel each other out, trade Randall out and put KP. If you can get KP without getting rid of Randall, that's a huge benefit for us. Then at that point, I would say you move Mitch to the bench mob, and then that takes our team to a whole nother level, including Mitch and including Randall. That's gonna free people from cheating on Randall. We got to keep in mind, Randall's been getting double teamed for 3 seasons, every year, every game, all the way to the playoffs. And we haven't added shooting. That's what we did. Added Evan and Rose. They were supposed to take pressure off Julius, and that didn't work. Derrick Rose, as much as we love him, is not physically capable to endure enough minutes that Thibodeau needs him to play. Evan Fournier was too weak on defense to keep him into the rotation. So those are things we're going to talk about, what we need to remove or take out afterwards. So they're more than likely going to be gone in somehow, some way. That's 2 positions that will be freed up. Now, whether they make the rotation, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But for sure, Rose, Evan, that's roughly about $34 million get freed up. That spaces out. And then IQ and Obi, we'll just talk about them briefly. We'll go deep and dive a little more later. But IQ and Obi are extension eligible. They could get an offer this year. They could. Do we have to pay them? No, we don't have to pay them. Why would you pay someone if you don't have to pay them? If a good business practice is you milk it to as much as you can, you let them know you're interested and that you want to pay them, but you don't have to do it right now, especially while you're trying to add or remove talent. You could try trading pieces. Again, if it's something that's worth it at this time, you can look at that. I'm thinking we're going to be keeping Obi and IQ through the remainder of this year without even going into extension talks until the last possible minute, like we did with RJ. That doesn't mean we're not going to pay him. That doesn't mean we're not interested in him. That doesn't mean we're not going to give him a good amount of money if it's out there. But prudency is keeping the asset as long as you can without obviously putting more money into it or paying him more money if you can. If you can keep them and add to this team and make a good deep run into the playoffs or even farther this year with what you have and not having to spend more money, spend that money on other acquisitions you can get or a KP or something like that, then that makes a smart business move. You already freed up 2 roster spots. Keel is someone that's an unrestricted free throw agent. I keep saying free agent this year. But that's someone you can send back down to our G League team. That's 3 roster spots that are available. Okay, so that's where you start looking at what you can add to those pieces. This is where I think we're going to add to what we have and not subtract. It's addition, not subtraction. Things that can help our team, where a lot of people are talking about shooting, that we need better shooting, more floor spacing. That is an issue. If Grimes gets better, that's going to help out quite a bit. And if KP were an acquisition, you put him in the starting role. KP, Brunson, and Grimes is definitely shooting, floor spacing. That alone would take us to a higher place, which I think KP would be a good answer. You move Mitch down to the bench role, and then you can move either Sims down to a multi-year where I think we're paying him, so you can send him down to the G League if we're going to free up roster spots at that point. We could talk about all that later, but I think if we can get KP just for money, insert him into the starting lineup, he's your starting center. You keep Randall, keep RJ, you keep Grimes, and you keep Jalen Brunson. That's it. That's the starters right there. Simple math, add it up there. That frees up Bully Randall. Randall plays to another level because you can't double team him. You have KP who can shoot. He doesn't have to play too dominant as a center. He's going to be a good help defender just as present. He's a good defender, good blocker. You don't need him to do too much. So that's something that I would like to see out there if we can get him. That'll solidify the starting lineup. Bing, bam, boom. You're done with that. And that's your superstar that we're looking to get. Would take our starters to another level. You move Mitch down, and then those 3 free roster spots, which again, this is addition. We're looking to add and fill our spacing. We had good talent, but they didn't peak or they haven't hit their ceiling. There was a first experience in playoffs, so you're seeing what can they do, where can they get better. They've tasted it. They got a taste of the playoffs. Now they can go work on what they need to do. Shooting, what the defenses are going to give them in the playoffs. How did they play in the playoffs? Can they break the zone? That's what everybody's going to go to, zone. So a couple of players that I think we'll be looking at. These are not the people that everybody want, but I think you have to get good talent that you can add. These are possibilities. I'll tell you a couple of possibilities out there that we're probably going to look at. So if you're looking at major talent, major people that you're going to be coming after, or people that are doing really good in another team that you want to pick them up, it's not going to happen. I don't think so. So I'm thinking at some free agents, unrestricted free agents, and maybe one restricted, that we can go after that would add depth to our team, solidify what we're looking for. Not only defensive, we're a defensive team, so you have to think defense out there. Who would Tibbs play? That's what you're looking at. Anybody you're looking to get acquired, Tibbs is not going anywhere. Tibbs has got us to the playoff in 2 years. He's got a winning record with the Knicks. He's not going anywhere. So forget the coach, the firing coach. All the coaches that got fired don't have good playoff records. So let's just keep that in mind. So Tibbs is not going anywhere. Think with the mindset of Tibbs not going anywhere and how Tibbs coaches. Who can he put in there? Who would he trust? Who can earn his playing time? That's what you have to look at. Who can Leon get that's going to play for Tibbs? That's going to play in Tibbs' system. Someone that you can get on the cheap but with high upside. That's Leon's MO. You can get cheap, high upside, high value. That's what we're looking for. You're going to end up paying... the only person you really got to pay this year is Josh Hart. You're going to pay him money. He'll be between the 14 and 18 range. Probably wants a bigger contract, just at Twins. So he's probably more concerned with long-term money. You're going to keep Jalen Brunson happy at that. So you're looking at maybe like a 3-year deal. Because Brunson contract, 4-year, I think it just started. So 3 to 4 year deal is probably what you're going to look at, between 4 and 18 tops. I don't know if they give him the 18. I'll say maybe around 16 mil for 4 years, somewhere around that. Somewhere like 68 mil, 4 years. That's about 18 a year, something like that. So 4 year, 18, 17 million, something like that. That's what you'll be looking at, Josh Hart. And then you can see IQ and Obi next year. That's what, and unless you get a KP, those will be two that you have to give money this year. That way that's what you're looking for to acquire. Once you free up that money, that frees up 18 out of the 35 you free up from Evan and Rose and Keel. You get rid of those. That's about 35 million you can play with. 18 to him. If you get a KP, that's when you're looking at. Other than that, the non superstar, the sexy picks that everybody wants, players that I think that we would go after that would add value, or they're just out there. I'll throw some at the beginning. I'll just throw the names of people that could have some value in some of the shooting and defense that we have. Wesley Matthews is a free agent. He's a shooting guard. I don't really see him really playing. He's a little bit older. He's in his 30s. He's a good defender and shooter, catch and shoot three. He's pretty good. He's someone we could possibly get cheap. I don't know if the Bucks let him go, though. Keeping Giannis, they want to keep Giannis happy, so they're going to keep people that are familiar with the system. It's possible he stays there. Maybe they give him another year. He's trying to win a ring. I don't see him coming here again. Just a name to throw out there. Trey Lyles is an unrestricted free agent. He's someone young, got length, and can shoot. He's someone that we can go after pretty cheap and get a good amount of money on there. Terrence Ross, old Magic player. He's in his 30s. I don't know. He's a really good shooter, a great fourth quarter scorer. So unless we get rid of, maybe we get rid of IQ, Terrence Ross, and that would make sense, or even someone who can fill a roster position and come in and just give us some buckets, a good three-point threat, someone who can stretch the floor. It's a possible you can get him cheap unless he goes ring chasing. So he's someone that can probably go ring chasing. Will Barton we've liked. He's a Swiss Army knife player. So we'll see if he wants to leave either the Lakers or see if something like that Will Barton chooses to leave. He's someone I've liked since he was in Denver. He can shoot the three. He can defend. He's a very versatile player. Someone kind of like a Josh Hart. It's very similar to Josh Hart. So I don't know if that would fit if we're getting Josh Hart. But he's a high energy player. Someone who can do a little bit of everything. Good defender, hustler. So he's someone to keep an eye out on there. Markieff Morris is the other twin. We have Marcus, the dog that was with us. He's about 30-something years old, 31, 32 years old. So I don't know if he fits our timeline, but he is an experienced veteran. He's a three-point shooter. He's a defender. He's tough, him and his brother. So that's someone who's an unrestricted free agent. That's someone who we can possibly get to add depth to the bench, who's a veteran, who's been in a playoff position, who can shoot, again, defend. So this is someone that I think can add depth to our bench. Maybe doesn't get as much minutes out there, but he's someone that you can plug and play. If someone's struggling in the starting, you can put him in there and he can help out. You can put him in the bench, he's going to plug in and help out. So these are pieces that fill these holes that if you look at what we had in the playoff, when our starters struggled, Tibbs was trying to find someone that can re-energize the starters, re-energize the bench, and that's where we lacked. We lacked the depth. We lacked people scoring. So we needed someone to give that energy. Someone like Markieff Morris or Marcus. I don't know if we can get Marcus. I think he has one more year with Clippers. Who do we prefer? Knows the system. But nonetheless, I think that's someone who can help out. A veteran defender, tall, so he's got height, he's got experience, he's a good defender, he's savvy, he's got good basketball IQ, he's a good passer. Someone like that I think can help us on there. Another low salary, high reward, who people were talking about before, who's unrestricted free agent from the Brooklyn Nets, is TJ Warren. Now this is a small forward who can get a bucket. He came off a knee injury. He just got traded to Brooklyn. I don't know if Brooklyn keeps him. He's a little bit older. He's about 30 or so. I don't think he can defend, but he can get buckets. So he's like in a Terrence Ross format where you can get him somewhat cheap and then high reward that if he gets it together, if his knee's healed, and he can contribute, you got a small forward that can give you a lot of buckets, a lot of burn. Again, there's a lot of things out there, whether keep Obi, who gets minutes and all that. I'm just looking at plug and play players that we can add to the for depth. After that, it's whoever, we're trying to get people now and then make it to camp and see who makes it. Can Obi, if Obi's that good and we love him, Obi has to beat out whoever we put in camp. Same thing with IQ. Same with everybody else. It's whoever can play. Tibbs is gonna look at you, how you play at camp, how you come into camp, are you ready, and you gotta outplay the person. So after that, it's up to you. If you're that good, now you gotta outplay these other players. I like a TJ Warren experience out there. Um, Someone, speaking of Boston, as we were talking about, Boston lost. So someone who's, yeah, you can take give or take, but I like Grant Williams. He's a little smaller, but he's a tough, pesky defender. It's not that great. Do they break up Boston? Do they keep him? Do they resign him? Do they pay him that money? He's someone who can shoot the three, a catch and shoot three. Again from the bench. These are just players I'm mentioning. Do they take Obi and all these players? Again, these are just people you can put at the bench. 15-man team who you can add depth. We did not have a lot of depth in our bench. Could they go somewhere else? Possibly. But Grant Williams is someone who, I think has enough experience that could help out. Will we get him? I'm not sure. Let me see what else. The last two, there's three last people that I'm going to mention that I think are more than likely people we go after. And I'm going to save the best that I think Leon would go for and would definitely add value to our team. So I like PJ Washington. PJ Washington, whether he gets re-signed from Charlotte, I think they didn't give him an extension, so he's an unrestricted free agent, so he can play. He's a small forward, power forward. He's a good three-point shooter. He's a pretty good defender. He's got length. He's tall, so he can guard. He's not that great at it, but he's good, and he's someone who can stretch the floor, hit three-pointers, and he's a pretty good defender. I like PJ Washington. Again, there's roster filling. How they play out in camp, that's up to Tibbs. Who can get burned? Do the other players at that point ask for trade? These are someone who can fill that rotation anyway. So should we trade Obi or something like that? PJ Washington can fill that role at a cheap price, and you can get some assets back for Obi if they request a trade. I don't want to trade him. I love all our teams that we have. I'm giving scenarios if they request a trade or if we get trades. These are people who can fill the roles that they have. PJ Washington can come right behind and cover Julius Randle if hypothetical that we trade Obi or Obi wants to request to get trade. PJ Washington, someone who can fill the role, play the role. Obviously, we don't have to worry about they're fighting for minutes. He can play a 10, 15-minute role, give the three, play defense, and we don't have to worry about if we keep Randle. There's likely scenarios if we keep Randle, which I think is the case. Other than that, PJ Washington, I like Matisse Thybulle. I've always liked him since he was in Philly. Great defender. Okay shooting. He's like, I think at 30, he used to shoot pretty good at 3. I don't know what happened, disappeared. But he's a great defender. Huge Tibbs type of guy. He's a restricted free agent. Philly traded him to the Blazers. This is his year, last year. So do the Blazers give him a contract? Do we throw some money at him and see if the Blazers match? He's a good Tibbs type player. He's someone that I think he's young enough. I think he's 24, 25, a good defender. I like that a lot. Where he can shoot, I don't know. That's where we'd have to see. He's young, fits our timeline, Tibbs type of player. You can get him somewhat cheap. So I really like Matisse Thybulle if we throw money at him. So Matisse is probably my 2, him and PJ 3, Matisse 2. And then the number 1 player that I think we should go after, I think Leon will go this person's going to go under the radar, is an unrestricted free agent, is Jalen McDaniels. Now, he's someone that he was with the Charlotte Hornets. He's with the 76ers now. I don't know if the Sixers pay him. You got all these players coming out. Maybe if this guy leaves and you keep that youth, if they don't pay him or we pay him more money, I think we give him a 3-year type of deal, he's someone that's definitely worth the money. He's long. He's about 6'9". He's a small forward. Small forward is the move. 6'9" players are the ones that everyone's trying to get. He's someone that's 205 pounds, 6'9", athletic, knows how to finish, a great defender, and can shoot the three. He is someone that I think we need to go all in on to give money and get him into our team. He's young, athletic. He's got 3 years in the league, so he's got experience. He's been on a couple of teams. He's a journeyman, so he knows the ethic. But if you look at him, I think he's going to be a huge piece that we can add on the low that you can get cheap, but huge ceiling. He's got a very high ceiling, and I think that's someone that we can somehow snatch, steal, and pay. Give him a 3-year, maybe 3 to 4 million a year, something like that. Right now, he's getting paid somewhere around like 2 million or 3 million. If you can give him like 4 mil a year, a 3 or 4 year deal, 4th year team option type thing, I think he'd be willing to come. And that's someone that we can get in our team with a huge implication. So if we got him and Matisse, again, these are 15-man roster fillers. Maybe they don't get as much burn as we would like, but they're deep pieces that we can add to our bench. As a 15-man unit, you got them plug and play. Matisse and Jaden, I think it's Jalen McDaniels. So if we get Jalen and Matisse, they're young enough and they're defensive players. They're long players. They're both about 6'9", 6'8" players. So you're looking at what the future of the NBA is, which is small forwards, tall players, longer players, great for defense. Jalen McDaniels is really good. I really like him. I like him and Matisse to fill rosters. So if we get rid of Rose, Fournier, and Keels down to the G League, you're looking at 3 roster spots you can fill. Unless you get KP, you can get KP and Jalen McDaniels. I think is someone that you need to target and go after 100%. So he's someone that is future, long, can shoot. I really like Jalen McDaniels. So I don't know if we'd be able to get Matisse. I think Blazers would match that. We know Cam's an unrestricted free agent. Do we get him back? I don't know if we go after him. I think the Blazers probably resign him at a cheaper price and keep that youth there because they're trying to rebuild as well. I don't think they got much draft capital as well. So Cam is available. He is an unrestricted free agent after this. So Cam Hive, don't get yourselves hype. I don't think it happens, unless we get it cheap out there. But again, I like Jalen McDaniels way better than Cam. He's taller, a better finisher, better shooter. And if you look at his defensive highlight, he is a monster. So I think that's my guy. This video would be Jalen McDaniels if I'm going to talk about it. I'll put the picture of him there. So he's the one that I think we should go after 100%. Him and KP for sure would be great acquisitions and would definitely take us to another level without getting rid of anybody that we have. I think you add those 2 players. You don't have to sign IQ. You don't have to sign extend IQ or Obi yet. And then that gives you options to run with that team for 1 year. And then by next summer is when we got to really go after these players, sign. And that gives you enough options to see who do you want to sign, who do you want to keep at that point. Let's rule out Grant wants a big payday. You got to look at the numbers. That's not Leon move. He is really good, but he's going to want a huge payday. Kuzma wants a payday. KP does want a payday. He's the only one probably worth chasing. 3-4 year deal, 117, something like that for KP. I don't think we give him the 150 that he had before. You could go after that and to get him back. Maybe that's something you're going to have to pay more than what Washington's willing. But those 2 are the pieces I think we go after. KP, for sure, Jalen McDaniels. And then I still like Alec Burke. If you get those pieces, still add Alec Burke to our team, he should be a shoo-in. You get him cheap, 15-man, maybe not take a place of any of the youth. Still throw Deuce out there. I think he'd help even Deuce. You get Deuce out there. Just a seat filler. You fill him in for sure. He knows tip system. He can play. He can shoot. I like him better than Terrence Ross. I like him better than most of the other players I mentioned. He's already familiar with the team. Give him a little bit of money, come right in. So I think Alec Burke, Jalen McDaniels are more than likely candidates. Those two for sure. I'm rambling on. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you guys want to see, want to hear, or what your thoughts are on who you think we should pick up. Do you like the picks that I said? Do you think that's what Leon's going to do? Do you think he fires Tibbs? What are the changes you think see happening? But let us know, the Organic Fanatics. Check us on Instagram. Let us know what you think right here on YouTube. I answer all your comments. So if you got comments, let me know, good, bad, or indifferent, whether you like it or not. Talk to you guys soon. It's my scenarios. Peace.